Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews, but a special episode of Comics Haul. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it and forget about the promos. Except for the actual place where I got these, so mycomicshop.com, one of the best services I think in the United States. For Canada, the shipping's pretty reasonable. The more you order, the more you kind of save on shipping. So I definitely recommend it to anyone out there looking to fill out their back issues and their series that they're missing issues for. So a lot of times when I show you the comics I got there, these are to fill in my runs that I'm reviewing and that I'm reading as well. So without wasting too much time, let's get right into it. So this is to fill up my Savage Dragon run from 1 to 50. I'm still thinking about if I'm going to hit 51 to 100, because I don't think I'd get any further than that. I'm more interested right up to when maybe Savage Dragon moves on to his son. And I don't know exactly where that is, but I do know that after 50, it really gets hard to find the issues, and they're actually really darn expensive. So the print run kind of really went down after the 90s bubble, I guess. So those issues are really hard to find. But anyways, so to fill up, I didn't have a lot left from my 1 to 50 run. So got this issue number 33. That's a pretty provocative cover, even today, I think. Not for me, I think it's hilarious. But yeah, some people, I guess, would be offended by that, or, think that's inappropriate. And that makes me laugh. And that's why I enjoy this kind of stuff. So good on you, Eric Larson, for doing that all throughout your career on the Savage Dragon. And continuing that tradition all throughout your run, but especially right now on this cover. And I'll be reviewing this one fairly soon. We're at issue 25, so in about 8 reviews, I would have needed this, and I'm glad to have it. And this one looks pretty cool too. I'm glad I was able to get it, and I can't wait to kind of look inside of it and have a look. That sounded really creepy and weird, but that's, that's how I said it, and I'm not doing any editing. So the Savage Dragon issue number 50, completing that run 1 to 50, 100 pages. Damn, that's a big one. All of these again at a fairly reasonable price. Usually when I do these comic hauls, I do allow myself like one splurge, whether it's a local comics haul or whether it's through my comic shop. And this time around, I'll show you as I get to it what my splurge was on this one and why I splurged on it. I was surprised to be able to get a few fairly cheap Amazing Spider-Man issues by Todd McFarlane. So I don't have the complete run there. Obviously, those hard to get, $298. $299, $300. I don't know what I'm going to do for those. Hopefully find, some secret copy in a used bookstore that no one knows about, or, a tattered version that's not too expensive. But I was happy to get these for a fairly decent price. Kind of weird on this cover. The fact that you can see his fingernails, I think, is just kind of an odd choice, but all right. Early Todd McFarlane here. Doesn't even look like he's inking himself on this, but I think he is. Yeah, no other signature. Still refining his look. His lines are going to get finer, right? And less kind of old school, I guess, as he moves along. Already on this cover, it's looking a little more Tom McFarlane-y. And I see where Larson got some of his look of Spider-Man from early Tom McFarlane. This, I could almost believe this is, Eric Larson to a certain extent, or maybe a collaboration between the two. But yeah, just you can see some of the growing pains in the McFarlane anatomy and movement and stuff in those early comics, but you can also see the charm of it and the cool stuff that made him, the popular artist that he was at that time. So I looked it up, and I was surprised to see some of the McFarlane issues that he does on the Incredible Hulk prior to Amazing Spider-Man were fairly cheap, so he wasn't really well known. Obviously, the Wolverine Incredible Hulk issue where they face off is very expensive, prohibitively, at least for now. But the other issues here, pretty cheap, so I picked them up, and you'll notice that I'm not going to open them up. Eventually, I'll review them. More than likely, I'm going to go back to these once I've done the Spawn issues that McFarlane does, because after that, he doesn't do any more comics. So I can fall back on these for at least a little bit longer on the McFarlane day, because I would like to look at more of some of his art, even if it's early stuff. Always like, again, to compare and see that evolution over the years. But yeah, not doing the covers on these because he's not yet that super popular artist, but I'm guaranteeing you that the interiors are all by McFarlane. I think most of the issues are inked by someone else, and it looks all right. But is there, I might be mistaken, but I feel like maybe the last few issues are actually inked by him. I guess we'll find out when I do my reviews of those. Now we've got the Kirby contingent. So Eternals, I think I've closed up with these last few issues that I found. So issue number 11 and 15 with the fake robotic Hulk. This is I'll review this eventually, obviously, and I'll probably talk about it then. But real quick, you know, Kirby was kind of asked or encouraged to have Marvel characters, actual Marvel characters, star in his Eternal series that he created for Marvel. So he had, you know, he didn't really want to, but he's like, okay, editorial pressure. So he had the Hulk come in, but it wasn't the actual Hulk. It was just a robot of the Hulk. So, you know, I guess that's Kirby's way of saying, you know, fuck you. This also, I think these Captain America issues close out my Captain America run of those Kirby issues the issues that Kirby did in the 70s. So I've got the whole run of that. Pretty happy about that as well. And yeah, I think on this one I closed up. I still don't have issue 1 of Forever People, but I think like these were the last 2 I needed for the rest of it. And they're in pretty darn good condition, these ones, for comics that are like, you know, over 50 years old at this point. It always blows my mind to think that the 70s are 50 years ago. I think that someone scraped like colored pencil across the cover or something. What are you gonna do? These are, again, pretty happy with condition and the price of these. Again, considering they're 50 plus years old. Black Panther, not completely finished, but got an extra issue there. This one's a little harder to fill up at a cheap price. Hard to find cheap copies of these, lower grade, whatever, reader copies. So this was my splurge. And when I say splurge, this was like 18 bucks. So it's not that bad. I didn't buy a premium copy, but I mean, it's in pretty darn good condition. And it does fill out one of my favorite Kirby series. A lot of people kind of laughed at this and panned it back in the day and all the way through the 90s and the 2000s. But, you know, you look back at this, and especially artistically, there's some amazing stuff in the series. A lot of amazing double page splashes. And Kirby's really kind of pushing it, and this is where I feel like he starts to go a little bit more into abstraction and design and you know, just more designy kind of looking work. I don't know how else to describe it. It's kind of maybe not doing it justice, but and stuff that will lead to what he does in Captain Victory as well later on in the early 80s. But yeah, Devil Dinosaur, don't listen to what people are saying. It's a pretty cool series. Story wise too, I mean, it was originally a concept for a kids animated cartoon. I could totally see a late 70s cartoon with these kind of characters. I think that would have been pretty cool. Could still work today. And kind of related to McFarlane, I think I talked about these and this artist yesterday in one of my reviews. I'm not quite sure where, anyways. I don't remember the order when I shoot these, but basically I've already got issues 1, 2, 3 of Satan 6, and I just wanted to make sure I had the whole series, so I got this issue here. There's a card back there. I had a quick card review that's going to be going out there on a Wild Card Sunday, so more cards. Whoever opened out the original bag of this issue was nice enough to include the cards that came with it. Pretty happy about that. And again, probably got this at a really cheap price. This is, if anyone out there is interested in this kind of stuff, you can still get these for really cheap. And again, the reason why is this artist, John Cleary, who kind of is one of those 90s Todd McFarlane clones, but one of the more interesting ones to me. And he kind of, does take a bit from McFarlane, but does his own thing and kind of mixes it up. And the anatomy is even crazier and more exaggerated. So fun stuff. And I don't know. I've always had an affinity for it for some reason. I got into Kirby in and around with those Topps comics and with Satan 6 originally. Like, that's what I was first exposed to as actual current Kirby at the time, right? And then I kind of went back over the years. So I do remember them and have a fondness from that period for this kind of stuff. Eventually, he did another series here, more specifically related to the Hellspawn character, right, that we saw in the Satan 6 series and the card reviews I showed. There's a few of those characters there. I think his name's Frightful. Is it Hellspawn or Frightful? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But more Cleary art. And again, you can get these for really dirt cheap. Same thing for this here. I found out that he did the Deadly Duo for Eric Larson, guest starring Spawn. So it's kind of fun to see at that point, you know, an almost McFarlane-ish Spawn done by someone else, right? Pretty similar. Again, more exaggerated, longer legs. The anatomy's, you know, even crazier. But some fun stuff nonetheless. Got the Savage Dragon guest starring Spawn in the first issue. Deadly Duo themselves, not the greatest characters, I gotta say, but just literally bought these for the art. Number 3, 3-part series. Oh, it's a 4-part series. I don't remember. So yeah, this guy, you know, he's got all the image tropes in his artwork, you know. Just fun stuff. And this is something he did for Lightning Comics. The only other Lightning comic that I think I've seen. I own, oh man, I forget what it's called. Blood something. From Bloodfire. There it is. From way back when. And then a few years later, I didn't even know they were still around, but they published this, Sinja, and it is drawn by John Clear as well. So I'll be reviewing these at some point in the far-flung future, because I do think they're just overall artistically fun and fun comics, actually. Story-wise as well. And I guess this last blog, just to finish off our video, guys. So I have recently started collecting Quasar for no other reason, again, than for the art, and collecting all the issues that Greg Capullo did back in the early 90s before he was on X-Force. Again, some really good design work, composition already from Greg Capullo. And once I'm done with McFarlane, I think I'm jumping right into Capullo after that. So we'll be reviewing those soon. Lucky enough once again to get Martial Law #1 for dirt cheap. No one's looking for this stuff, right? So I'm trying to find stuff that's interesting and fun that no one's looking for, so you can get it for cheaper, right? That's just basically my strategy. But Martial Law, I've talked about, I'm sure. I've read them by now, a lot of them. Really cool series if you're into that British I hate superheroes, deconstructionist kind of thing. You know, Garth Ennis, Alan Moore, etc. And I just love this stuff. I love the art. I love the Kevin O'Neill art. I love the storylines, the exaggeration, the bombast, there's psychedelia in here. Just a great series that is very underrated. So just let me finish up buying all the cheap issues that are out there. And once I've done that, you guys go crazy and start buying those up, because it's some really good stuff. But for real though, no laughs. I definitely recommend it for anyone out there who's, again, if you've read Watchmen and that stuff and you're into it, this is kind of in that same vein. There's another one there. Not for kids? Yeah, I would agree with that. And lucky enough to get this at, again, a pretty cheap price as well. So I've got issue 1. This is issue number 2. I'm not sure if there's 3 or 4 issues of this. I don't quite remember, but since I do have issues 1 and 2, I'll be looking to complete that set for sure at some point. And when I do, I'll be reviewing it, because just a very visually interesting and imaginative series that kind of blew open a lot of ideas about what comics could do and could be, and the level of detail you can throw in there. And when I say detail, I don't mean hatching and moody lighting and all that stuff, but, you know, actual elements on the page, and you know, just clearly defined, easy to read, but just, you know, overload the page. Busy artwork. Check out Hardboiled for sure. All right, guys, that is it for today's comics haul. If you're watching and you're still subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you are not, please hit the subscribe button down below. It only takes a second. It really helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps get us out there to other people who are interested in the same stuff that we are, namely comic books. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, and everyone out there, please. Thanks again for watching, and have an awesome day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.